This is my very first Intarsia project made from ambrosia maple, walnut, and yellow pine. In the latest issue of ScrollSaw Woodworking and Crafts magazine, fall 2023, issue 92, there is this nice little mummy Intarsia pattern, and the pattern is on the following page. And for the record, I have never ever done Intarsia. I've done ScrollSaw segmentation. I've went in and made several copies of the pattern and made them just a tad bit bigger, just since this is my first time ever trying it. I'm going to go through the scrap bin here and see if I can purge myself of some of this scrap. Playing around with materials now. As you see in this piece, it looks like there's walnut here for the background of the mummy's face, and I'm going to use black walnut for both the pupils and in between the eyes here. I'm looking for a piece for the eyes, but I have this scrap piece of spalted ambrosia maple that I think will look good as the wrappings for the mummy, so I'm going to attach this with spray adhesive and blue painter's tape. And the only thing I need to look for now is a piece to use for the eyes themselves. When you're doing a piece like this where you need to always keep track of the face side, what I do is quickly just scribble on the back with a number 2 pencil or crayon. That way I know when it comes time to sand, shape, and contour this side that I'm doing the correct side and not the side that'll get glued to a backer board. And since this is essentially cutting out something like a puzzle, we need to make sure that the scroll saw is perfectly square. I'll use my 3D printed blade alignment gauge there. Now, one of the most important things with doing Intarsia on the scroll saw is being as loyal as you can to the cut line. I've essentially just tried to make that black line disappear while scrolling, because after I scroll this part out and release it, these pieces here that I cut out of the walnut will have to fit down in here and fit seamlessly to make it look like one uniform piece. I'm just taking my time and letting the blade do the work. I've just cut out the mummy's pupils out of walnut here, and you can see they're extremely small parts. I always keep small parts like this in a little bin beside the scroll saw to keep up with them. But if you're worried or concerned about cutting out small parts and them falling through the cavity here, you can easily and quickly put down some blue painter's tape to mask that hole to prevent the parts from getting lost and falling down through the hole there. And this tape does not leave a residue or stickiness on the scroll saw table. Got all of my pieces cut out. Now I just need to peel the pattern off, and that blue painter's tape will just be like a post-it note peeling off. I've got to shape, sand, and contour everything, and before I cut out the final shape, I traced it on a piece of 1/8 inch scrap here just to have a backer board to glue to, and I'll use an extra pattern to go by when assembling. Here is the entire project. Now comes time for the shaping and contouring to really bring this piece into the third dimension with depth and contours and all. So I'm going to primarily use my Marathon rotary tool from Bearwood Supplies and my other sanders to give it shape and life. Alright, the initial sanding is done. Basic drum sander here to just start shaping everything, to get everything to where it'll fit. Now I'm going to go to more aggressive sanding methods to really shape and contour everything to make it flow and look like a uniform piece. I think I used every sander in the shop to get to the smoothness and texture and everything. I've already got the eyes glued in with Gorilla Wood glue, and they have been drying out in the sun and everything, but I'll be using a combo of Gorilla Wood glue and medium grade CA glue to assemble the Intarsia mummy. Got 3 more pieces to do and making progress. Final glue up is now underway. Before clear coating, I'm using a tack cloth, which is like a sticky cloth, to remove any of that excess sawdust that might be down in the little nooks and crannies. I'm going to finish the mummy with several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss to make the grain pop, hopefully make everything look uniform and give it protection for years to come. The little Intarsia mummy is now dry enough to hold. He is still a little tacky on the top, but cut out completely on the scroll saw. This is my very first Intarsia project made from ambrosia maple, walnut, and yellow pine, and the full-size pattern and article comes from the latest issue of ScrollSaw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing, fall 2023, issue 92.